Abolish the blocking rule. Abolish it. It's a dumb rule. It's a stupid rule. It's a bad rule. And
It's a
Bo
bad
Bichette
rule.
is hotter than hot. This is Locked On Blue Jays. It's right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Blue Jays. Matt Bonaparte, Ben Shulman with you on a Wednesday morning. Thanks for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Jays lose. They lose. But it's okay. You know, sometimes you lose. Especially when they're pulling redonkulous calls on you like they did to my boy Alejandro on Adley Rutschman. This is ridiculousness, Ben. Ridiculousness.
Yeah. I mean, I want to acknowledge that the Blue Jays won a game because of this call earlier and did not lose this
Still a
game because of this call,
stupid rule.
but it's really stupid. It's stupid for like 4 reasons. Number one, I thought the rule was you were allowed to move if you were trying to get the ball. He was trying to get the ball. So
Can't prove that in
I
court,
don't
could you?
I don't understand exactly what's going on over there. Stupid number 2, even though I know it's not the point technically, but it's why the rule's stupid. Adley Rutschman had like more than the plate to slide at. More than the plate. Like way more than the plate. And then
he was fine, man.
Yeah. And then rule number 3, or stupidity number 3 for this rule, like this happened because Buster Posey got hurt, and we all know that. Buster Posey didn't get hurt because of where he was when a guy was 30 feet down the line. He got hurt because when the guy was real close to him, he was still blocking the plate. And at that point in time, if a guy was blocking the plate when you were real close to him, you were allowed to knock his lights out. Which I'm not advocating for that to come back to baseball. Admittedly, it was a little fun to watch, but it's horrifically dangerous. So
insane rule. Now that we look back on it, that was a thing, but
insane
it was awesome
rule
to watch when you knew a guy was running around third base barreling home.
Yeah,
it was sick to watch.
But it was
incredibly dangerous.
It's a skin and bones contact. Like I know catchers wear equipment, but it's not football or hockey equipment. Like it was just like 2 humans.
They're not wearing pads.
Yeah, just slamming. Yeah, it's a stupid rule. I hope they take it
and
out.
half the time, the guys, like, after the catchers got hit, they were just writhing in pain. Like, poor Ray Fosse, man. Poor Ray
I figured out stupidity number 4. I forget who put it on
he's
Twitter.
Got 4 of them things.
I got a 4th one. I said 4 initially, but I only ended up with 3, but I have 4th. I forget who put it on Twitter, but Chris Black, Sportsnet producer, retweeted it. Basically, you're forcing the outfielders to make a perfect throw. Because your catcher's almost not allowed to move. That's just not how baseball works. Like, how you're expecting a guy to make a perfect throw from 200 feet? Like, frankly, Gurriel did make a perfect throw because he hosed him by 15 feet. Like, you can't hit a bucket of water from 200 feet out on the run. That's just not how it works. So, I hope they figure something out.
I saw your Twitter rampage. But
I went on a rampage. The softball rule thing?
You did. Yep. Yeah.
At this point, just do that because I don't understand what this means. The softball, for those who don't follow me on Twitter at BenShulman7, I said, like, at this point, if you've played in a men's or women's league softball like this, where they, to avoid any contact because people don't want to slide, obviously, they put that line from like home plate to the fencing, and it's just like, did your catcher get the ball before the guy crossed that line or the lady crossed that line? At this point, at least I would know, what the rule was. I'm just asking for a clear rule that doesn't have to be like, I shouldn't have to have a lecture to understand this rule. It's the same as the NFL catch. Like, don't we all know what a catch is? Don't we all know what blocking the plate is? If a guy moves out of the plate and the guy has the whole plate to slide at, I don't know. They still would have lost.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, it wasn't contingent on it, but it still stunk. Anyway, let's get to the positives, man. Bo still cranks a homer. That guy's red hot. Probably the hottest guy in baseball right now, him and Judge. Those dudes just cranking homers. Good to see
10
Bo.
hits for Bo in the last 3 games. 10 hits.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's ludicrous.
In a
Wow.
2-day span, too, because it was a doubleheader. 10 hits in 2 days.
Wow. That is just cranking hits, dude. Good to see it. Keeps the Blue Jays fighting, rocking and a rolling and whatnot. But those wild card standings, Orioles, of course, are the ones you're fighting. So losing a game to them is just about as bad as anything. But you still got a little bit of a lead going, so it's really okay. John Schneider gets ejected from that game.
Jeff Nelson. There were so many bad things in
Yeah.
this game that didn't have to do with like what baseball should be.
Yes, I agree with you. Schneider, though, we were just talking about it a couple weeks ago. He's doing pretty well. 12 games above 500 under him, or 13 now. He's doing pretty
No,
well. I think you
11
got to
now.
hand that to him.
11 now because
11 now. Excuse me. Yes,
but
11
in
now.
a very
Still
small
doing
sample.
very well.
Yeah.
So you got to give him some credit there. Makes me feel more and more that he'll be back. So
It doesn't really feel like he's an interim manager. Like they said it, interim manager John Schneider on the broadcast today, and I was like, oh yeah, he's the interim manager. I forgot about that.
you kind of forget that Charlie got fired because they're still playing so well.
Yeah. I mean, they were only, if I'm doing my math,
They're 4
correctly,
games above 500, 46 and
Yeah.
42.
Yeah. I mean, that's a market improvement.
So
That's
they're 15 or 14 games up now. Or 15 games up? What is it?
15 games up. 50. They're 75 and 60.
So that's big.
Yeah. What else? I mean, Chapman was pretty good. Kirk with 4 hits. Love to see it. I mean, there's a big elephant in the room of pitching, but like we're about to talk roster in a bit, so I think we should just save the pitching for then because it so directly relates. Like, I mean, that 3rd inning is what cost them the game, not the ridiculous.
I think what the bane of the rotation has been this year is just a lack of options when it comes to the end of it. There have just been a lack of options. They haven't found something that is stuck at all, and they did nothing to patch the hole. Like their piece of Scotch tape to patch the gaping hole was Mitch White, and that was never going to work. Like it was never going to work. And they failed. Like there's no way around it. Like the front office failed in that respect when it came to improving the roster. And like what came out about Montoyo also being fired was like Ross said, we wish the roster was better. Like, dude, isn't that your job? Like what? So I don't know. They like if they don't, you can't blame anything but yourself if you're Ross Atkins and you don't go far in the playoffs this year because you had an opportunity to improve the roster for 3 months and you didn't do it.
I will say, I don't think it affects them in the playoffs, but it affects their route to the playoffs because the 5-starter wasn't.
I don't know. I think it might, dude.
How is the 5-starter going to pitch in the playoffs anyway?
Well, it's not necessarily just the 5-starter. You have 2 starters that are good. 3.
No, you have 3. You have 3.
Yeah.
And Jose
Okay, you have
Barrios
3
isn't
starters.
their fault. Jose Barrios isn't their fault.
I'm not saying it is, but
yeah,
to not bring in one more guy to have a 4th option that is solid in the playoffs is bad. Barrios isn't their fault. I'm not saying that. Like he's having a bad year, and I suspect he'll be better at some point in the future, hopefully. But you not going out and getting a 4th option in the playoffs is a major flaw. Like that's brutal.
I think they felt locked into Barrios as the 4th option in the playoffs. But we've gone so far off because they paid him like $20 million. We've gone so far off the game. Do you want to get to roster talk?
Sure, man. Let me tell you about Built Bars first. If you haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. Delicious, indulgent cookie dough. It's covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Cookie dough chunk puffs have a light and chewy texture. Real cookie dough chunks. And of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All of the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories and they have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. Run to built.com, snag a box for you and the family. It will be the perfect treat. Or if your name is Ben Schulman, just hide them and eat them all for yourself and hoard them. Like all built bars, the new cookie dough chunk puff is covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. Chocolate covered cookie dough with a light, fluffy texture. So good. What's great about Built is that all of their bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. You're going to love the new cookie dough chunk puff, whether you need to snack for your workout, a late night treat, or just need a grab. Just need to grab a quick bite. Built is the perfect protein bar, and they taste better than a candy bar. Ditch the calories, fat, and sugar. Grab yourself a Built bar and go to built.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKEDON15.
Roster talk. The roster is at 28 players, and I don't understand it. So I want to do some roster talk if that's cool.
Let's do it, bro.
I don't. Not that I don't understand why it's at 28 players. That makes a lot of sense. I don't understand why certain people are on the roster, and we've kind of had the two things I'm going to bring up. We've kind of individually had discussions about them, but I'm going to meld them. Mitch White walked the 8 and 9 hitter and hit a batter today, and just caught and then loaded the bases with no outs and cost them the game. Yusei came in and gave up a run in his one inning, and then the Blue Jays scored a run, which would have made it 5-5, but instead it was 6-5. I think at a minimum, and I'm going to get more radical than this. I'm going to monologue for a little bit. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
At a
Get your
minimum,
thoughts out. Then
there's no reason to have both those guys on the roster. At a minimum, because Yusei's not a good reliever. He's not, and we're too late in the season to care about this. Now, Mitch White has options, so he probably gets sent down more quickly. I kind of disagree with that line of thinking because if anyone claimed Yusei Kikuchi and took his 3-year, $36 million deal, wouldn't you be so happy? Like, I am more than okay. No one would. That's why I'm okay to expose him to waivers. I don't care who has options because he's going to clear waivers. Like, there's no way. If you don't know, if you DFA a player who's out of options, every team has an opportunity to claim them. But if they claim him, they claim him. Like, he's theirs now. And if they don't claim him, then they can bring him down to AAA. So, I mean, he so would clear waivers. So one of those two, in my mind, has to be gone. I really think both of us agreed at this point, after the last Mitch White start, that a bullpen day is better than these guys. My radical thing is that I think you should send both of them down. And I would bring up at least Zach Pop. You have Matt Gage. You also have Trent Thornton, who's not fantastic, but at least he's like kind of like White and Kikuchi, but you know what you're going to get. Like, Trent Thornton's going to have like a 4.8 ERA, but like, you know exactly what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get from White and Kikuchi. They're just going to walk guys all of a sudden out of nowhere. Or Mitch White was getting hit a ton before. So, I mean, I would call both of them up. And then I'll take it a step further. I still don't understand what their bench is, why they have 4 defensive outfielders on their bench. Witt obviously is not hitting. I still think he should be on the team because he's a utility infielder, outfielder. And I know Biggio kind of is, but Witt can play all 3 outfield positions in second and first. So I think Witt stays. I really think the discussion is between Jackie Bradley and Tapia, because I do think Zimmer's by far your best defensive outfielder off the bench.
Yeah, but he might as well not carry a bat to the plate.
No, he doesn't. But in the 9th inning, like, you're never putting in Jackie Bradley or Tapia instead of Zimmer, you know? And you can pinch run Zimmer in and you can pinch run him in the playoffs. He's pretty fast. He's not like crazy, but he's pretty fast. So I really think it's like the Tapia and Bradley are providing the exact same thing to me. I think Bradley's a better defender, and purely off recency bias, he like just went 3 for 3, and he's played in the playoffs.
I'll take his experience over Tapia all day long too. Like, I don't really care.
And Tapia is slumping. Tapia has not hit well in like a month.
My only thing is you do have to have a certain amount of pitchers on the roster.
So
I think
I'm saying more pitchers. Send those two and Tapia down, and bring up Pop, Gage, and Thornton, and Saucedo if you're a Saucedo guy. I really don't care. Pop is a good reliever. Gage is a lefty to replace Kikuchi, and while I don't really know what Gage is, I know what Kikuchi is, and I don't like it. And then the third one is like, rather than if you want a bulk guy still, but it's not Mitch White or Yusei Kikuchi, Trent Thornton's kind of your man.
Okay, I'm just reading the rules now. It says a pitcher may be replaced by only by another pitcher, and a position player only by another position player.
Okay, well then I think that it should be Gabby Moreno, but it's not gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's tough because, like you said, they honestly like the logic about Barrios being their fourth guy and that he's being paid money. Like, I think that follows over to Kikuchi as well. But, you know, when you do that kind of thing, you objectively are not putting out your best ball club. So I think it's stupid. But it is what it is. It's the world we live in. Kikuchi, I bet you will be on the playoff roster, but
no,
there's no reason for him to be.
So. I don't think
you don't think so?
No.
So you think they're just going to load it up with like Pop? See, the thing is,
I think Pop makes it over Kikuchi.
I don't know. The only thing they bring 4 starters in. You think they bring White or Kikuchi?
They bring 4 starters in as Gosman, Manoah, Stripling, and Barrios.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Oh, well, I didn't want to cut you off. You got a point?
Well, I was going to say that the thing is, like, when you bring in all these bullpen guys, like, I don't know. They don't have, like, the most... They don't have the most... Like, they have 3 bullpen guys that I'm like, yeah, those are my guys. Other than that, it's like, I don't know how much, like, Zach Pop being added is going to be great.
But it's better... But 6th inning comes, and Kikuchi's warming up, or Zach Pop's warming up, the feeling in my stomach is very different. I'm much cooler.
Well, Kikuchi warming up would mean you're down 8.
Kikuchi warmed up and went into this 1-run ball game today.
Yeah, playoffs are different, though. Playoffs are totally different. They're just trying them out and stuff right now.
But I think Pop has a chance, like, if your bullpen's taxed, to actually give you a good inning. I have just absolutely no faith in Kikuchi whatsoever at any point.
Okay, what were you going to say before?
So they're not going to send both down, even though I want them to. If you were to pick, who would you send down, White or Kikuchi?
Kikuchi.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think Mitch White, like, White's still starting. They obviously think he's the better pitcher.
I wouldn't start. I'm
not saying start him. I'm just saying he's the better guy.
I think.
Kikuchi's awful, dude. He has no idea where the ball's going.
I mean, like, I don't know if Mitch White's awful,
similar.
But Mitch White has had a brutal last, like all but one of his.
Neither of them are good. I don't know. Neither of them are good. And I think we both agree that defensive replacements are better, more valuable than them anyway. But I don't know. I don't think their playoff success will hinge on whether or not Kikuchi and White are on the roster.
No, but making it. They still have to make it. Like, every 5th day, they're losing.
Yeah, I know.
They lose every 5th starter.
I think they'll make it. I believe.
I think so. I would much rather them throw a bullpen day every 5th day. And that's why I want so many bullpen guys, too. I just rather them throw a bullpen day every 5th day. This is not as much for the playoffs for me as it is for the stretch. Like, they still have to qualify. They still have 7 more games against the Orioles and a 3.5 game lead.
I don't see why they don't do a bullpen day game every day.
That's why I want you. That's why I want Pop, and that's why I want Like, give me a Richards Phelps 4 or 5 innings, and then or give me like a Richards to Thornton, and then give me Pop, Bass, Garcia, Romano.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. Yeah. It's just that I don't know.
They're not going to do it. They're not
I'm
gonna
at this
do it.
point. I'm at this point with the issue in which I am so past it because they had their chance to fix it and they didn't. And now you have to deal with the consequences. Like, I don't know what to tell you, Ross or Mark. Like, you screwed up. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. And now you have to deal with, oh, what are we going to do every fourth and fifth day? I don't know what to do. And you have to just deal with Mitch White going out there and giving up 5 runs in 3 innings and then having to dig yourself out of that and losing to the Orioles. That's what happened to you. I don't know what to tell you because you didn't want to trade whoever. And now that's the story. Makes me upset. I don't like it.
And
Let's
we're
talk
not going
about
to get into
over-unders.
we're not going to get into this rabbit hole, but like Hyunjin Ryu comes back next year, and they're not taking Ross out of the rotation, so Kikuchi's just going to like be there.
Yeah, that's a
but
whole nother thing.
yeah, let's audio listeners ads now.
Okay, it's time for over-unders. First one, I've got an exciting statistic for you. I don't know if it's all that exciting, actually.
I'm excited.
And I actually went away from the page because I was looking up something. So give me a second to get back there. But it has to do with Alek Manoah and some splits regarding his performance against certain guys in certain positions in the order of the lineup. He is really good. He's a great pitcher against every single position in the lineup, meaning 1 through 9. He has an opposing OPS of under 700. Isn't that crazy?
At every position?
From 1 through 9. Except the 2-hole. Every single one except the 2-hole.
Best hitter in your lineup hits 2.
So, first, every single one except the 2-hole. And it's not like he's fine. Like, they hit him. 857 OPS, 300 average against guys hitting in the 2-hole. Most home runs he's given up is to guys in the 2-hole. So that's what we're dealing with. Best hitter in your lineup these days does hit in the 2-hole. When we were growing up, it was the 3-hole. But times have changed. They've flown us by. So this first line is, and this hinges on the fact that Adley Rutschman will once again be batting second, as he has been every single game this series. Does Adley have more hits against Alek, or does Alek have more strikeouts against Adley tomorrow or today?
I'd be lying if I told you I really knew Adley Rutschman's strikeout numbers. Like, how is he as a strikeout guy? Can I get that information?
Sure. He has 62 strikeouts in 300 at-bats.
Okay, so
doesn't strike out a ton.
He's not great. He's not awful. That's pretty league average because I'm assuming that's like 350 to 360 plate appearances.
359.
Yeah. Wow. Almost on the money.
It was pretty darn good from you. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'm going to say that Adley Rutschman has fewer hits than strikeouts. There you go.
Whoa.
I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Hot take.
Love that from you. No, I would have picked the same thing. I think you got to back Manoah here.
I think there's a chance he goes over with a strikeout, Like, he's a really good hitter, but Alek could keep you. Now, this is only against Manoah, right? Like, not.
Yes, when Manoah comes out of the game, it's a different story. It's only against Manoah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go.
Also entirely contingent on their lineup tomorrow having Adley Rutschman in the 2-hole. So if he has a day off, bets off, deals off.
What if like they did something weird and he's in
bet is
the
off.
3-hole? Does it still count if he's in the 3-hole?
No, it's got to be in the 2-hole. Got to be in the 2-hole.
All right,
let's very, very specific fake bet. Okay, Manoah game over under 6.5 Ks. If you'd like, I can give you his game logs. Show you what he's doing. You say over?
Sure. Yeah, I kind of already made my decision, but I'm going over. I think he has.
Last game in Pittsburgh, 6 Ks. 2 before that, Yankees and Angels, both 8 Ks. Before that, Baltimore, 7 Ks. Before that, at Baltimore, 5 Ks. Before that, at Minnesota, 5 Ks.
So that's a 50-50 split. I'm gonna go with over still. I think rubber match Manoa, like he's a gamer, he wants to be in the big one. And I think the bench is clearing and all the nonsense today, is perfect for him. That's what I want before
I do
Manoa
too.
starts.
He hasn't had a double-digit strikeout performance all year,
Wow.
which is crazy to me because he's been so freaking good. The closest he came was 9 against the Angels in May. But yeah, he hasn't done it since, and he's only done 8 twice. There was his 2 of his last 3 starts. He had 8 strikeouts. So he hasn't been a huge strikeout guy. I'll still say over. I say he gets like 7. But yeah. All right. Teoscar, I've given you this exact bet before, and you were wrong about it. Teoscar OPS over under 800 after the game today. It is currently, or going into yesterday's game, it was 800. Now it's probably higher.
No, it's lower. He went over.
It's lower.
Um,
No, he didn't. Oh, he did. He grew in a double play. Yeah, so it's lower.
um, I'm gonna
You
say
said over
under.
last time, but went under.
I'm gonna say under. I for some reason I think the beef stuff isn't good for Teoscar. While it is good for Manoa, I want Teoscar feeling like breezy. I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be conflicted.
You
I
want
want
you
him.
want like lo-fi chill beats, Teoscar.
Yeah, I want like
He's
smiling.
just like walking in with like, I'm walking on sunshine playing in his ears, and he's just like,
Yeah, like
I'm
uh,
walking on
you know,
sunshine.
nothing could get me down. I'm so happy today, Teoscar. So I'm gonna say under, but I hope he proves me wrong.
I'm gonna say over. I think he cranks a homer.
Let's do it.
And the obligatory over under a half a homer for Bo Bichette.
Oh, I mean, so I knew something like this was coming. Um, and I think a smart betting man would like know when to hold him and know when to fold him and be like, I've bet on Bo Bichette this series and it's worked out so well that I should hedge it. But I don't care. I'm buying the I don't do stocks. The rise, I don't know what they do. Um, I don't understand it. I just but I'm buying more even with the stock price up. I think Bo Bichette does hit a homer tomorrow. I think he's just in that zone right now, and he's hitting every first pitch, which is when he's really cranking. So crazy because it's a stupid ballpark, and they ruined a really good ballpark and made it impossible for righties to hit homers. But he's still poking them out to right field for fun. So
I will also disagree here. I'm gonna say he does not hit a home run. So there you go, man. All right. Well, that does it. We might revisit those tomorrow. We'll see. Regardless, we'll see ya later, Showmanada and Bonaparte on your Thursday episode tomorrow. Have a good night. Hopefully the Jays win this game. But before we leave you, I got to tell you, thanks for making our podcast, Locked On Blue Jays, your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, go check out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022, an 8-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NFL season. And guess what? They got local team experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, plus our guy, our man, the number one, Lee Sterling of Locked On Bets. He's combining it into a one singular Ultimate NFL Preview. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get those podcasts you listen to. Peace.